All right, welcome back to Right on Campus. Well, just when you think Vermont has reached its moral bottom, they find a way to keep falling. Vermont became the first morally bankrupt state to allow civil unions 9 years ago, is now the first state to legalize gay marriage with a legislative vote just a week ago. If you think that's insane, their newest proposal is even more ridiculous. Vermont now wants to legalize sexting. For those who don't know what that is, it's when teenagers, mostly girls, send naked pictures of themselves to usually boys. This has become a huge problem in high schools, as many of the pictures being sent wind up on the internet or being spread around school. Now, Vermont feels the best way to handle this problem is to legalize it. I'm guessing this is to prevent it. I must admit, I'm failing to see the connection, but luckily the CBS station in Vermont was able to interview Karen Salmonson, it's a difficult word, and an expert on talking with teens. I don't exactly know what the qualifications are to become an expert in that field, but she did have this to say, quote, "Don't talk to them in language saying this is right, this is wrong. That's not going to get to a kid. You have to talk to them, you know, what they think is cool and isn't cool. You have to use the language of cool because that's why they're doing it." This woman is an expert? Really? We need to use the language of cool? Being a non-expert of talking with teens, that has got to be the nerdiest, lamest thing I've ever heard. The language of cool. See, this is the problem. We have idiots like this in this country who have obviously never talked to a teen in their entire life giving advice on the subject. It is absolutely ridiculous. Want my advice? Show every girl in high school a picture of a porn star at the age of 40 and tell them that's the direction they're headed. Or better yet, parents, take away their freaking phones. I didn't have a phone in high school. I managed to survive. Sando, you're a teacher, hoping you're not having this problem. But do you agree with Vermont in legalizing sexting?
Absolutely not. And unfortunately, we have had issues with phones and taking pictures and things like that in school, and it has been awful. And I don't understand the need for phones in school. It's you know, it just creates problems like this. And I mean, like you said, we all survived school. We all survived going to school without having cell phones at our beck and call. I mean, if our parents need to get in touch with us, they call the office. They get in touch with us. So. Yeah, absolutely not. I do not think legalizing it would affect it at all.
I mean, I completely agree with you. I think that the problem is you know, you've got parents that aren't saying, you know, I know 10 and 11-year-olds with cell phones. Why? Yeah. Why does a 10-year-old need a cell phone? I didn't get a cell phone until I was 16 and driving around.
Exactly.
So that in case of an emergency.
In a car, yeah.
Basically.
But why not get the jitterbug too? You can only call home.
Yeah.
And the other one is, you know, I think it's called jitterbug. I don't know.
And I like the tracking device.
Yeah, I mean that's what we need to give the kids. We need to give them tracking devices, not cell phones.
Exactly.
That's great parenting. Give your child a tracking device so that you know where they are at all times.
I don't know that would be a bad thing, but I was going to ask you a question, Carly. I'm surprised that you could relate to this issue because, I mean, let's face it, you haven't been a teen in quite some time now.
Well, luckily I'm immature for my age, in case you haven't noticed. And so I do know what it's like to be a teen because it only seems so, like, doesn't seem that long ago. But I also like to point out that I think this woman is absolutely ridiculous talking about, like teens do not care, do not listen to when their parents say something is cool. They're not like, oh, that's cool, I'm going to do that now. It's actually the opposite. So I think the best way to curb this and end it is if parents start talking about sexting and act like they're doing it. And saying like, hey, Johnny, like I just sent a picture, you know, I'm just sexting your mom right now. Like, that'd be great because the kids would stop doing it in like a week. Like, because if their parents start doing it, the kids will stop doing it.
That's a great point. I've never thought about it like that. But could you imagine sitting around the dinner table, like all of a sudden mom and dad are chuckling, and the kids are like, what? What? And they're like, oh, we were just sexting. And the kids would like leave the dinner table and be like, oh my God, I'll just eat the Brussels sprouts, please.
It would end at school within a week. I mean, it would be done. They'd be like, oh, I'm not doing that. My parents do that. That's weird.
Yeah.
It would. I think that would round it up pretty well.
I agree.
All right. Well, lastly tonight.
Glad we all agree on something.
Yeah.
But this is bipartisan unity, right?
Yeah.
Lastly tonight, there's something that is really